Today's story will recount the most tense days lived by a 13-year-old teenager named Jayme Closs, the only child of the couple James and Denise Closs, aged 56 and 46 years old, from Barron, Wisconsin, in the United States. On October 15, 2018, close to 12:50 a.m., the family dog wouldn't stop barking, and this made Jayme wake up. Upon arriving in the living room, she saw a car parked at the door of the house through the window, and then went upstairs to tell her parents what was happening. James went down, opened the curtain, and saw outside a man dressed in black and covering his face due to the cold that night.
Can you open the door, please?
What are you, a cop? Can I see your badge?
The man fired through the window and fatally hit James, who was killed instantly. With the noise, Denise and Jayme left the room and hid in the bathroom. The masked man managed to enter the house and started looking for the girls. Upon reaching the top floor, he realized that the door was locked.
Open this door!
Denise quickly called the police, but didn't say anything.
911, what's your emergency? Hello?
Turn that phone off, now!
The criminal managed to break down the door and entered the bathroom. He wore black from head to toe, including masks and gloves. Directing orders to Denise, he said,
Tie this girl's arms and legs and put that tape over her mouth.
Even in desperation, she obeyed orders. After tying up Jayme, the masked man shot Denise, who also died instantly. He then carried Jayme out of the house, threw her in the trunk of his car, and left. Everything happened very fast, about 5 minutes between the time of the first shot and the escape. Less than a minute later, the police arrived at the house, but unfortunately for just a few seconds, it was too late. From inside the car, Jayme could hear the noises of the sirens, which were getting farther and farther away until they disappeared. The police could only find the bodies of James and Denise. Looking at the photos that existed in the house, the police saw that the family consisted of 2 adults and a teenager. As they didn't find the girl at home, they realized it was a kidnapping and immediately issued an Amber Alert. The police also spoke with neighbors to see if they could collect any clues, and although almost everyone heard shots, no one saw anything. The shooting was not something strange there, because the hunting of animals is a common practice in that region. After nearly an hour of driving, the kidnapper parked his car, took Jayme out of the trunk, and took her inside. Upon reaching the place of captivity, she realized how messy the place was and how much it stank. It looked like a nice house, but it hadn't been cleaned in a long time. Jayme was then thrown on the bedroom floor and pushed under a bed. The man surrounded the bed with very heavy boxes that looked more like weights for weight training. Jayme had little right to freedom even inside the room. She only got up to go to the bathroom or to eat, but everything was in there. She spent most of her time under the bed. She used to go without eating, drinking, or going to the bathroom for up to 12 hours. Over the next few days, the townspeople mobilized and began searching for the girl, but to no avail. No one had any idea where she was, what the kidnapper looked like, his car, nothing. In parallel, the police interrogated and investigated possible suspects who were already known for some type of crime in the region, but they all had an alibi, and the police were unable to arrest anyone, not even temporarily. A few weeks after the kidnapping, the police increasingly lost hope in the chances of finding the girl, because with the death of the parents and with no contact with other family members, a police ransom request would never be made, and the idea was treated as trafficking. But luckily, if we can put it like that, Jayme was still pretty close. Months passed and Jayme gained some of the kidnapper's trust. She could walk around the room and sit on the floor, but she still didn't have access to any other room in the house. 2 months later, on Christmas Eve, the man gave Jayme a message.
My parents are coming to visit me for Christmas night. If you make any noise or try to run away, I won't care who's in front of me. I'll end your life.
Threats like this were routine. Once, Jayme went through some box just out of curiosity, and the man threatened her that something worse would happen to her if she continued rummaging through the things in her room. In another moment, for which she does not remember the reason, he slapped a kind of club on her back, and again warned her that if she did something wrong, the punishment would be even worse. Imagine waking up with the feeling that all these events were a nightmare, but in a split second, you realize that it was actually real. She lived her worst nightmare again and again. For the searchers, a $50,000 bonus was being offered to anyone who gave information leading to Jayme's rescue. Half of it was provided by the police, and the other half provided by the company where James and Denise worked. Her face was all over the newspapers, on posters, and on the television. Early the following year, the man decided he needed to look for a job. His money was already running out. So, on January 10th, 2019, he went in for an interview.
I'm going out to sort things out. Be quiet and don't try to do anything, or you already know what's going to happen to you.
But Jayme didn't give up. She saw that day the opportunity to flee. Lying under the bed, she gathered all her strength to open any space and escape. And she did. She was wearing pajamas, grabbed the first pair of sneakers she saw in the bedroom, and fled. Despite being around 4 p.m., the temperature was below freezing. The place she was leaving behind was a cabin with lots of trees around it. There were no close neighbours. Jayme ran down the main road and found a woman walking a dog. This woman was Jeanne Nutter.
For God's sakes, help me.
Calm down. What happened?
I have no idea where I am. I need to talk to the police. I was kidnapped, and I managed to get away. My name is Jayme Closs.
Jeanne immediately recognized her, and the two ran to the nearest house to hide and from there called the police. Jayme was in Gordon, a town that is 1 hour away from where she originally lived. She gave all the features of the criminal in addition to the features of the car she remembered from the day of the kidnapping. Upon returning home, the kidnapper saw the door open and a space between the boxes in the room. He looked in every room in the house and couldn't find her. So he got in the car and went out in search of Jayme. It didn't take long for the police to be on the streets looking for him, and in a few minutes his car was identified. The police intercepted the vehicle and told him to get out of the car, and immediately he turned himself in.
It was me. Don't shoot. I'm the Jayme Closs kidnapper.
Jayme was kidnapped for 88 days. She was very thin and was taken to hospital. Other relatives were informed that she had been found alive and the kidnapper arrested. But who was this man? He was a 21-year-old with the name Jake Thomas Patterson, with no police record. At school, he was very shy, with few friends. He didn't participate in activities like theatre or prom, but he was very good in his exams. As a teenager, he never had any social network. His choice of Jayme for the kidnapping came out of nowhere. He said he saw her getting on a school bus and felt something very strange, something he couldn't explain, but that he needed to have her. Jake thought out a detailed plan of how to kidnap her without leaving any clues. He changed his license plate, used a shotgun that is the same type of weapon used by hunters in the region, and even used a mask to not identify his face, shaving his hair and beard so as not to leave any traces around the house that contained DNA. He twice tried to carry out the kidnapping, and seeing movement in the house and in the neighbour's house, he hesitated. On October 15th, on the third attempt, he made it. Although he confessed to the crime and collaborated with the investigations, as she is a minor, a lot of information about how he treated Jayme was not disclosed. At the trial, on March 27th, 2019, Jayme chose not to be present at the hearings and, through her lawyer, asked for police statements to be used as part of the process, in addition to having written a letter that was read in court.
Judge, this is the statement of Jayme Closs.
Okay.
Last October, Jake Patterson took a lot of things that I love away from me. It makes me the most sad that he took away my mom and my dad. I loved my mom and dad very much, and they loved me very much. They did all they could to make me happy and protect me. He took them away from me forever. I felt safe in my home, and I loved my room and all of my belongings. He took all of that too. I don't want to even see my home or my stuff because of the memory of that night. My parents and my home were the most important things in my life. He took them away from me in a way that will always leave me with a horrifying memory. I have to have an alarm on the house now just so I can sleep. I used to love to go out with my friends. I loved to go to school. I loved to do dance. He took all of those things away from me too. It's too hard for me to go out in public. I get scared and I get anxious. These are just ordinary things that anyone like me should be able to do, but I can't because he took them away from me. But there are some things that Jake Patterson can never take from me. He can't take my freedom. He thought that he could own me, but he was wrong. I was smarter. I watched his routine and I took back my freedom. I will always have my freedom and he will not. Jake Patterson can never take away my courage. He thought he could control me, but he couldn't. I feel like what he did is what a coward would do. I was brave and he was not. He can never take away my spirit. He thought that he could make me like him, but he was wrong. He can't ever change me or take away who I am. He can't stop me from being happy and moving forward with my life. I will go on to do great things in my life, and he will not. Jake Patterson will never have any power over me. I feel like I have some power over him because I get to tell the judge what I think should happen to him. He stole my parents from me. He stole almost everything I loved from me. For 88 days, he tried to steal me, and he didn't care who he hurt or who he killed to do that. He should stay locked up forever.
Jake was sentenced to life in prison for the murder of James and Denise, and the kidnapping and imprisonment of Jayme Closs. Jayme didn't want to return home, didn't want to take anything that was inside except the dog, and decided to start a new life with her aunt, who is now her legal guardian.